everybody.
Hello, welcome back to the Bierman blog.
Today we're going to talk about our thoughts on Hocus Pocus 2.
The long-awaited sequel
Yes,
to the Halloween classic, Hocus Pocus.
Yes, the classic. The cult classic.
The cult classic, yeah.
Okay,
So,
I don't even know where to start.
Number one, did you actually want a sequel?
No.
I didn't really care if there was a sequel or not either. I don't.
You know, the first one, it should have been a one and done. You know,
one and done.
I mean, they did. They vanished, the sisters were gone forever.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Everything was nicely wrapped up.
They didn't eat their
Now, I have not watched the original in a long time. I did not watch the original before watching the sequel, so I'm just going off of memory. But yes, they didn't get to eat the children.
And they turned to dust at sunrise.
And the sun hit them and they disappeared. And what is it, Thackeray or whatever his name is, turned back into a boy and went with his sister, right?
Well, yeah.
And then the zombie guy
goes back into his grave.
And then it was it. That's over.
Right. And I'm sorry, these kids were, 15, 16 at the time, so did we really need a follow-up? No, this is not what happened, but were we expecting a follow-up where Allison and Max get married and... No,
I wasn't expecting...
No. I mean, it's, again, a one and done. The sisters are gone, they're not coming back. Great, you saved the town. Great. So, Disney, in their infinite wisdom, said, let's bring the Sanderson sisters back, and we're able to get the original actresses who played the Sanderson sisters 29 years ago to come back and play it. So, if we could talk about that for just a second. So, first off, Bette Midler, to me, she's never looked super old and she's never looked super young. So, I felt like the difference of 29 years for her, and plus the makeup they put on her to make her Winifred, there really was no difference to me.
The makeup, I am sure, was the main factor in making her look pretty much the same as she... I mean, you could see she had some of the wrinkles around her eyes, but other than that... Yeah, she pretty much looked the same, so yes.
Yeah, but now, and Kathy...
Just going off memory again.
Kathy Najimy?
Kathy Najimy.
Is that how you say her name?
I believe that's how you say her name, Najimy.
Yeah, so in the last 29 years, she's lost a significant amount of weight.
I was going to say, she looked thinner.
Yeah, she's lost a lot of weight, and she, like every woman or human being does, she's aged. But I think she was the closest to her, same with her.
She did look good.
She looked good.
For however old she is. I didn't look to see how old she is.
Yeah. And then Sarah Jessica Parker. They did her dirty. Now, again, I could care less how old a woman is, how young a woman is, whatever. But if you intended to bring someone back, I think she was probably the youngest out of the three actresses. Bring her back now, unfortunately, she has aged as all women do. And like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But then, in order to not only combat the fact that she does look older, and she was so young and beautiful in the beginning, like in the first Hocus Pocus, I think they were just trying to, make her look the same she did 30 years ago, and I'm sorry, she doesn't. So they gave her the gosh darndest worst eyebrows I've ever seen.
I don't understand the eyebrows thing. You didn't need to do those eyebrows on her.
No. I'm
sure she would have looked fine without the eyebrows.
No.
But who knows?
Yes, they were.
It's makeup and costuming's decision, so there you go.
Yes. So, okay. So to get that out of the way,
But all in all,
it was nice of them all to come back.
They all looked decent, for the most part, and they all came back. Yes.
Yes. And yes. So, okay. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the new characters. So, I didn't read any spoilers, so I didn't know if they were bringing back anybody else besides the original cast. So they did bring in it's a whole new cast, and they gave Winifred her own, a different backstory. I mean, more.
Like, how much different? Because I don't remember their entire backstory from the original.
So the only thing there wasn't really a backstory. It was there's three witches in the woods, and they're evil, and they knew they stole Thackeray's sister, and they were going, and Thackeray was going after them, and that's it. And you go to their house and stuff. So I guess in a way, yes, this does give you a little bit of the backstory, because they go to Salem before the witches are adults.
Yes, so it goes back to when the Sanderson sisters are children.
Yes, and
like preteens or.
Well, it's hard to tell. I forget what they said. I don't think they said what birthday she was on, because it was Winifred's birthday.
I think it said 16, because I think that's something about getting married or something.
Yeah, I think so. So they were trying to get her married to somebody in town, and. So that was I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it was an interesting backstory. It was an interesting tie to the movie, to bring into the movie, and that was like the first 28 minutes of the movie was kind of the backstory, and I thought, oh, well, I don't know what people are complaining about. This isn't bad.
Yeah,
I mean, this is that bad. Yeah, I really liked the beginning, and then all of a sudden, it went to pot for a second. So.
Went to pot how?
Okay, so. You get introduced to the modern day characters.
Okay.
And it was what I felt a very, accurate portrayal of teens. There's these three girls. They were once best friends, and now the boy comes up. There's a boy involved, and they're not as good friends. Great. Yeah, that can be relatable, right?
Yes.
Yes, and a whole new story. Maybe the three of them or two of them bring back the Sanderson sisters. Okay, great. So that plays out. And again, I was following along. I like the story so far. And then all of a sudden, the Sanderson sisters come back. And immediately, there is this campy song. How they just came out, they just were resurrected, and they started singing and dancing.
The witches are back.
And I'm like, WTF? I mean, right at that moment, I was like, okay, this just doesn't seem like to be the right place for this to happen. They're not going to come out and just start singing. They're going to come out and they're going to be confused. I mean, honestly, the last time you remember being on Earth, you were
destroyed.
You were in a graveyard, and now all of a sudden you are resurrected from the ground, and no big deal, right? I'm like, yeah, we're back. You literally just got resurrected. How are you just so aware, so woke, if you will?
Well, see, I went to the restroom or something. I forgot to pause, and I came back because I could pause, and I don't for some reason. So that whole scene where they're coming back, I'm like, wait a minute. How did they get a black flame candle when the original was done? And I was sort of lost there for a second until a little bit later in the movie when you find out how it all happened. But yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Why are they out there? Why do they want to bring them back? I didn't get it at the time, so I was sort of confused. But yes, then they jump out, they're singing, and they're afraid of them. So I'm like, okay, so they didn't want to bring them back. Obviously, so where'd they find the candle? And I don't know. It's just me not rewinding because I was like, I'll figure it out.
Right, but then when you go to the backstory and they're talking about the character who decides to bring them back, it was so random. Oh, I was on my way home from an awful trick-or-treating night where kids stole my candy, and I saw these three witches, and after that I was obsessed with bringing them back.
Yeah, it's...
Why?
That's the whole horror movie trope of bringing your horror movie character back. All of a sudden, this character you didn't see in the last movie...
Yeah, like they did in Halloween. Yes.
All of a sudden, there he is. Hey! And hey, he's like obsessed, or, he does something that inadvertently brings the person back,
Yes. So that those kind of parts were like, and then okay, so then the next part again, and maybe this is the adult in me. They go to a Walgreens. So let's bring modern day into it, and instead of just being in a town that's modern. Oh, let's feature this Walgreens. Okay, well, whatever. So in this Walgreens...
What's wrong with the Walgreens?
Well, I'm sorry, but in a small town like Salem, I don't think they would have a corporate pharmacy, like a corporation there. I see it more as like having a mom and pop type of pharmacy. So to me,
Is Salem really a small town?
Yes.
Even in 2022?
I don't know. Let's see. How many?
I mean, I would say there would be a Walgreens there. If it's been there, it's probably been there for a while, and they just updated it. That would be my perspective on it. I did not find the Walgreens super jarring. No.
43,000 people as of 2020.
Okay, they would have a Walgreens, I would think.
I don't know. Okay, so that kind of just threw me off just a little bit. But then the sisters are drinking a lot of women's skincare products that would be lethal.
They're witches, dear.
But no.
They're magical.
I don't buy that.
They're witches.
I don't buy that. So that again, that was another thing that was just kind of like, I do like how, okay, not like and not like. So it's almost like they couldn't decide in the movie whether they wanted the two sisters to be smart or stupid. Like felt like originally when they bring them back, there's a moment where they're like, oh, these they're much smarter than they were 29 years ago. They're not going to fall for these easy tricks. Like when the girls are trying to escape from them, and I forget which sister she is. Kathy Najimy's character comes in like, you aren't getting away this time. We're smarter than this. So I thought that was kind of, a poor choice. It's like they couldn't stick with the character. They made Sarah Jessica Parker, her character was supposed to be just some stupid, horny woman, in more or less, in the original. And this one, again, with her, they never make her real horny.
Well, it's a Disney movie, dear.
It was Disney originally, too.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But, yeah, so that was just kind of, like you said, it's odd for me in any movie where they remake a character to be 100% like nothing like they were in the original. And yes, people grow, great, fine, but pick a lane. So if really in 29 years of being banished, when they weren't really dead or gone, how did they become smart in 29 years? And then in another part of the movie, they make them stupid again. So again, pick a lane.
I guess I don't sort of get what your argument there is.
Pick a lane. You have your...
They had their experiences in 1993 that they remember in this time period. Mm-hmm. They don't know everything still because they were only alive for one night. So they don't... Yes, they know that the kids are probably going to try to ditch them. So boom, they stop them from, go over here and we'll go this way. No, you're not. You're going to stay with us because...
Okay, that's fine. But there were other just parts of the movie like that. Where 1 second, Sarah Jessica Parker was completely, nice and normal and aware. And then 10 seconds later, oh my god, there's a boy and I'm going to go. I mean, it was just, to me, it just was like a switch.
Okay, I don't remember that.
So anyway. And then at the very end, the whole movie is Bette Midler's character, Winifred, wants to basically get the most powerful spell.
The most powerful spell that was introduced in the backstory when they were children, and they get the magic book, and she sees this spell. She's like, oh, why don't I just do this then and be the most powerful witch ever? Mm-hmm. And she gets told, no, it's dangerous and there's a curse with it or whatever. But now she's back, and now she's like, well, I'm not getting banished again, so I want to become the most powerful witch, and we're staying on Earth this time.
Yeah. And they do the spell, she becomes all powerful, and then realizes in order to become all powerful, she has to lose what she loves.
Yes.
Which is her sisters. And then it was like a 180 of the character again. Now, before you say it, I understand that she realizes that it's not worth losing her sisters. That she did have some type of a heart. And again, but it was just very... I don't know. So for me, the story didn't do it. like I said, there are parts of it that really I like the younger girl's friendship. I like that they built it back together. I like they worked together to fight. Their story was kind of weird. How the 16-year-old was just all of a sudden, you know, oh, you're 16 now as well. So guess what? We're gonna make you a witch in 2022.
But she turned 16. That's when witches get their powers.
Yeah. But yeah.
And she's been dabbling in witchcraft as a child because she kept going to the guy's magic shop or whatever his shop was called. The guy who was obsessed with
The
Sanderson sisters. But yeah, that's just the convenience that, oh, she's into witchcraft because she's actually a witch. And she just happens to have two friends who support her in that, and now she has her own instant coven as well.
Yeah.
So, but that's just plot convenience. You have to have that.
Right. So, in my opinion, this is a movie that would be more probably resonate more with younger people. And maybe that's and it's hard to say that, well, duh, that's what Disney made it for, is the younger people. But the thing is, if you're going to make a sequel to something, you're going to expect that your adult audience who watched the original as a young person is going to be interested in it. And I think that, for me, the characters in the first one were much more relatable, more centric to the story, where I felt like in this case they weren't as central characters.
Which characters are you talking about? The characters
the three women, the three young women, the teenagers.
So you're talking about, from the original movie, the kids.
Yes.
So the people who were closer to your age at the time. Now those people aren't closer to your age.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So yes.
Now, I totally forgot what my whole rant was before we did this video, and you said hold on for the video. But it was something about when you wait so long to make a sequel, you have to realize that you're not just making it for kids. You're also making it for those people who watched the original 29 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to see those characters again. And I don't think they did that bad of a job making, the people who remember these characters, the Sanderson sisters, as what they were written as. Yes, there's some inconsistencies. So, like, if you're a real nitpicky person, you'll probably pick them all out. I'm sure someone's already making a video or has made a video nitpicking all the stuff. Like, oh, they're way more evil than the first one. Oh, this, that, and the other thing. They were more like this in the first one. And, like, she's been saying, oh, she was more of a seductress in the first one, and now she's not. It's like, she's still sort of ditzy, like spread out, and she just starts spreading her limbs out. Subtle joke. Apparently you didn't laugh at it. I didn't laugh at it either, but I got it. But there's also, you have to... They wrote themselves into a corner with the all-powerful spell. And yes, they just we gotta end it. So yeah, she has that quick 180 where instead of I would think she would go crazy and start really trying to do something and then find out that she can't bring her sisters back.
Yes.
But instead, we're like, well, we gotta wrap this up. So 180... You get the little twist at the end. She is reunited with her sisters in a way. And then you got the three new girls are now the new witches, and they have the book. And
one of them has powers. That we know of.
That we know of. The other two helped her. And I guess power needs to be shared. So I don't know if that means they all have power and they just didn't know it, or what. But I don't know. I don't think they did that awful of a job. It's not the best movie ever. Yes, it is written more towards children. They made the characters a little less evil, a little bit more
Campy.
campy. I don't mind it. It's a very good standalone movie. If you don't watch the first Hocus Pocus, this one stands by itself pretty decently.
It does.
So you don't have to watch the first one to get the second one. Both of them, like, they're both not the greatest movies ever. I don't know why everyone really loves the first one. The first one's just something to put on in the background every once in a while during Halloween. And it's just a fun movie every once in a while.
Right.
Nothing great.
Right. This
one, not as good as the first one.
And I probably wouldn't even put it on the background again.
Really?
Probably not.
It does get slow at times. I will say that, yes, with the teenage characters.
And the obsession with this stupid caramel apple. Oh my god.
Now, I don't remember. Did the first one have, like, more than one musical number in it? Because I know there was one musical number in the first one. Because Bette Midler's got to sing if she's in a movie, right?
Right. Well, no, I think the only musical number on both, like the first one was when she basically hypnotized the whole town or whatever.
Which?
To dance until they die. Dance until they die. So, yeah. So let me put it this way. If you know, you know what I want to say. So some of you will get it, some of you won't. I would rather turn on Mr. Boogedy in the background than watch Hocus Pocus 2 again. I would watch the second Mr. Boogedy.
Oh.
Even.
Oh, no.
Yes. Yes. So, so for those of you who have Disney Plus, if you've never seen Mr. Boogedy.
You have to have Disney Plus to see Hocus Pocus 2, right?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Well, yes, so watch Mr. Boogedy.
Don't. Well, I don't know. I can't remember. I know the first one I was sort of forced to watch, and I really didn't care for it. But, man, I only seen parts of the second one. And there's even more than that, isn't there? Isn't there like a third Mr. Boogedy movie?
I don't think so. I think there's only two, I think.
But, wow. I mean, yeah, go ahead and give them a shot if you want. But Hocus Pocus 2 is better than those. So, yeah. I guess my other big thing is that they really need to bring Billy back. I don't remember his ending in the first movie. So, but he comes back and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been awake for 29 years in his grave."
Which didn't make sense because he basically went back into his grave and shut his coffin.
So he's just been lying in his coffin awake for 29 years.
Yeah, that was weird.
And it wasn't even buried that deep. But I guess I don't remember how deep it was buried.
Well,
in the first movie. But
however,
inconsistencies again. But, you know.
Yeah. So, no, we didn't expect it to be the great, like, Avatar or Titanic or some multi-million-dollar movie. Like, I didn't go into Hocus Pocus thinking that. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I would have hoped to.
So, I would say 2.5 to 3 stars out of 5. It's not awful. It's not great. But you're not going to watch it and go, man, that was a waste of time. Some people might. But I didn't. And I'm not a huge Hocus Pocus fan. Mm-hmm. I know of the movies. I remember watching it in theater as a kid. We watched it every once in a while. And this one was very, what do I want to call it? Not offensive. Unoffensive to me. I was like, didn't need it, but I watched it. Yeah. Still didn't need it, but it's okay that it's out there.
Yeah. And honestly, we could go on for forever about sequels that never needed to be made. You know, I feel like just now in the 2020s, you know, we're getting movies that were popular in the 80s that are trying to remake them. I think they're trying to remake The Breakfast Club. They're trying to remake Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They're trying to remake.
Are they trying to make Ferris Bueller?
I don't know. I'm just.
I thought that was a rumor.
I mean, I've heard of there's a lot of rumors.
You know, there's years of rumors that Ferris Bueller.
And Goonies 2. Again, that's a rumor, but I mean.
The Breakfast Club remake, I've heard recently, yes.
Yeah.
Or at least within the past few months, I've heard that they wanted to do that. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Make a new movie about a bunch of misfit teenagers and make it something of your own and call it something completely different. Do not call it The Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Do not ruin any John Hughes movies. Just say that. Don't ruin any John Hughes movies. No.
That's true. Don't ruin them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we ran out of steam with this one, but that's okay. We pretty much got our thoughts out on Hocus Pocus 2. Agree, disagree. I'm sure some people think it's great and fantastic. Other people are like, wow, that was trash.
I even had somebody who's like, I've never even seen Hocus Pocus 1. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Like I said, it stands alone. If you haven't seen Hocus Pocus 1, this movie actually does very well on its own. You get a whole new backstory. You know that the witches are bad people. They're trying to stay young. They want to live on Earth and do their thing and be witches. So that's about it, I guess. So I'm going to try to get her to watch The Munsters, but she ain't going to watch it.
I might. Look, if my daughter can get me to watch.
Oh my gosh, we need to have you and her do a video on some of the movies you've watched.
Or the TV series.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, I'm sure, it's stuff that kids like, but I don't get it. But that's me. I'm an old man now.
Well, yeah, I think even if you were 16 and you probably look at someone who is watching this, just some of the shows that you've seen us watching, they're like, what? This is trash. This is trash.
You watch trash anyway. I mean, don't get me started on some of the stuff you watch, Miss Sister Wives. Who watches Sister Wives? And what's wrong with you?
And there is not a video long enough for him to argue how much he hates Sister Wives. So we're not going to talk about Sister Wives. This movie's about... This is the longest
I've stared at the camera, because what's wrong with you?
All right.
I know I don't look at the camera a lot.
This is Hocus Pocus 2. This is how we felt about it. Let us know in the comments what you thought of it. And until next time...
Don't watch Sister Wives and stay out of trouble.